Hey, what's up, everybody? Pat here, grateful recovering alcoholic and addict, just like every day, my friends. Guys, please subscribe, like the video, leave me a comment, and share it with anybody you think might get something out of it. Sorry, I lost my train of thought for a second there, forgot where I was. Guys, how was everybody today? Thank you so much for being here with me. What an absolutely beautiful day, guys. Day after Mother's Day. Again, to all the mothers out there, happy Mother's Day. Hope you had a great weekend, and, we love and respect you. None of us would be here without you, so that being said, guys, we're going to start up with the Just for Today NA meditation slogan, saying, paragraph, whatever, like we do every day. And again, I'm really liking this format because it is something that I find is universally applicable to anybody's life, and I love seeing how it applies to my life. And it's amazing how often it goes right hand in hand with the lessons and the things that are going on in my life, whether at that moment or within within the very recent past. So today it's living with spiritual experiences, and that's huge for me, guys. My life has become incredibly spiritual, and I'm so grateful for that. I'm so incredibly grateful for that. I'm finally enjoying who I am today because I'm living with spirituality. I'm living very intentionally spiritually, and and so it goes on to talk about meditation. And again, that's it's literally my new favorite hobby. And one thing I want to say, guys, don't give up on meditation if it doesn't take right away. I know years ago when I was trying to get clean, it's something I wanted to get into, and I would try, and I wasn't there yet, and that's why I suspect I ended up going back out. And again, this doesn't mean if you can't meditate doesn't mean you're going to go back out and relapse. Do not, whatever you do, guys. Let me make that point perfectly clear. Whatever it takes to find your path, keep, and if you do fall, get back up, guys. Get back up. Get back up. Be honest with yourself, let it go, but try to sit with self and figure out what it is that's causing it. And for me, what it was is I wasn't changing the person that I was. I was trying to remain the same and get different results, and that doesn't work, right? At least for me, it did not work. So I had to make a lot of changes, and I found the deeper I went, the more changes I made, the more I'm enjoying the results. The amount of work you put in is going to be directly related to the rewards that you get out. It's as simple as that, guys. Simple cause and effect. But meditation doesn't always come easy at first. It takes time to learn to quiet the brain, and it certainly did for me, guys. Like I used to just have these racing thoughts and suffer massive ADHD, and again, I was diagnosed with severe PTSD. But through prayer and meditation, I've let all that go. I've been diagnosed as cured from it, right? And whatever. I think they may throw labels on, but again, you look at the experiences that I've had and the stuff that I've been through. Being diagnosed with PTSD makes perfect sense. I mean, I've been through hell, more than most. But through understanding that there's a higher cause for it all, through living spiritually, through connecting with my higher power, I've been able to let that go and understand that it just it is what it is, man. I can't dwell on yesterday. I don't have to define everything to be able to let it go and move forward from it, but I have to move forward from it. I have to let it go to move forward from it, and that's been huge for me. And a big part of that has been my conscious contact with my higher power, whom I choose to call God. Call yours what you will. I'm certainly not here to tell you that my God is different than your God, or yours is different than mine, or that that you have to call it what I got to. Again, find your path, and as long as it's positive and it tells you to be the best version of you and to help your neighbor and to get out of your own way and be a better person, then you're on the right path, and stick with it, okay? But again, meditation for me, again, is something I could not get. I would try, and it would just be something in the background as I was going over my thoughts, and that's not the case today. Breath work is a big part of that for me. So if you're struggling with meditation, that's one thing I will say is try to focus on your breathing. Take deep breaths, hold it, take a breathe in for a count of 4, hold it for a count of 4, and then release it for a count of 5. You always want to release more than you take in, and that forces you to take in more, and you get cleaner breath in your lungs, and it's very healthy. That's scientifically proven. It's very very good for you. So if you're having a hard time meditating, try to quiet your mind, and if you're if you keep going back to racing thoughts, don't get discouraged, because it just makes it harder for you to concentrate. Just let it go and go back to your breathing and go back to focus on. I suggest in the beginning do guided meditations. That's certainly easiest for me. That's what helped me the most was the guided meditations because I could focus on listening to the voice and following the instructions of the person I'm listening to. Now I can just throw on a different megahertz meditation but anyway, again, it's baby steps, getting yourself there. But give meditation a shot and prayer. I mean, again, whatever prayer looks like for you, it doesn't have to be what it looks like for me. But again, that's just another form of meditation, and that's been huge for me, guys. It's been hugely insightful and helped me figure out what it is that matters to me and what I wanted to do and what was I doing wrong and where was my accountability in things and really it's just really about getting getting quiet, sitting with self and getting introspective and not being afraid to, right? Don't feel like you're failing, and again, just let it go and keep trying. And it's like anything else, guys, everything gets easier with time when you do things consistently. So meditation can bring extraordinary results. Sorry, guys, I write these notes down and I'll just sit there and go off. I don't go back and look at what I'm, the bullet points that I put down. For me, meditation has been hugely, hugely helpful in changing. And that's the thing, guys. For me, I had to change the person that I was. And not even so much change, I had to find the person that I am. In order to do so, I had to stop being the person that I'm not, which is the person that I was being, if that makes any sense to you. If you know, you know. But you know what? I was trying to live up to everybody else's, desires and wants, and not putting my own needs and thoughts and feelings first. And you can't do that, guys. I am able to help so many more people in so many more ways today because I put myself first and I find out what matters to me, and I fill my cup up, and that gives me the strength and desire and resources to go out and help other people, and that in turn gives me a much better sense of self. I have such a more balanced and correct sense of my self-worth today. My worth is not determined by the work that I go out and do during the day. That is my job. That is how I pay my bills, and that is a beautiful thing. I'm very fortunate to be skilled in the ways that I am, and I have a lot of good attributes that allow me to go out. But again, I stopped doing that for somebody else, and I do that for myself today. And like today, I had an opportunity to put a former friend of mine who was somebody I used to work with, to work again. And he's going through a hard time, and he's somebody that always was there to help me out when he could. And he works for the company I used to work for, and he got that whole nightmare. But he wasn't working today, and it worked out beautifully because I had I had jobs today where I needed a hand moving appliances. I was installing dishwashers, refrigerators, stoves, and moving some glass panels around. So it was fantastic, right? And it's beautiful. And I just billed for two people instead of one, so it didn't necessarily come out of my pocket. It might have cut into my profit slightly, but I couldn't have done the job, and I wouldn't have got it done without him. And now I was able to bless somebody else and pay him way better than he gets paid at a regular job. So he's happy and he's thrilled to be with me. And it's just one more bonus, right? One more situation where I'm not going to be greedy and risk injury to try to do something myself, so I can put all the money in my pocket. And it's better lessons, guys. It's lessons that I'm learning. And again, I don't know how we got into that one, but yeah, you can get extraordinary results from meditation. I have gotten extraordinary results from meditation. Again, in early sobriety, in rehab, literally, guys, I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what my sober life was going to look like. I didn't know what mattered to me. I didn't know what I was going to do. I had no idea I was going to start the business or start going to school at Harvard or be on video trying to help other people. And these are things that I sat and I meditated on and I prayed upon and I asked God for help and I sat back. And the thing is, guys, when you meditate, it's not, you're not going to get like immediate. You might sometimes get immediate answers. Things might become immediately clear. For me, and I think for most, as you meditate, you sit in quiet time afterwards or over the next day or over the course of that night, and then you just pay attention to your thoughts and your intuition and the ideas that come to you, and that's usually your answers that you're getting from your spirit guides, your God, your higher power, or your higher self, as some people like to say, or whatever you want to call it. But regardless, the answers you seek, and that's for me, it's been huge. Like I've gotten some fantastic ideas, and it's just given me clarity on things where I'm like, wow, why wasn't I seeing this avenue? The universe has been trying to tell me something in this way, like, don't go to work, for a job that is bad, and you're doing, you're working for a guy who's cutting corners and putting you in dangerous situations, and you don't know if you're going to get paid, and then you're stressed out. And I took giant leaps of faith because that's what my intuitive nudges, it's what the answers I was getting through prayer and meditation, and I acted upon them. So that's the thing, guys. In order for meditation to be of value, the results must show in our daily lives, which means you go through the motions, you do the prayer, you do the meditation, you do these consistently, you pay attention to the thoughts and feelings you get while you're doing so, and then you take action on them. And it's not always going to be easy, guys. Sometimes it might be a little scary. But usually the best things are, right? Getting out of your comfort zone. And there's something to be said for being in the comfort zone. That's great. And, we want to remain safe. And you don't want to be out doing crazy, high-risk things all the time. But in order to expand, in order to change things in your life, you have to step out of your comfort zone. You've got to challenge yourself to do, to reach a little higher, to try a little harder, or to do something that you know is right. If you're doing things that you know are blatantly wrong and there's a situation that calls for it, start working on that situation. You don't have to do everything overnight, but if you know it's wrong and you know there's a reason for it, start working on those reasons, right? Sometimes you have to, have the balls to whip out your sword and cut it off at the head, but you can't always do that. But you always got to start, egging yourself on, cheering yourself on, building yourself up, paying attention to the things, acknowledging them in your head. Don't ignore them. For me, that's one thing I do. When I knew something was wrong and I was doing it anyway, and it was the easier way or the way I needed to do for whatever bullshit I was doing, I would ignore these things. And now, the biggest change that I made is I don't longer ignore them. I pay attention to them. In the early days, I took baby step action on it, or I would avoid one that I knew was bad. And now I cut it off and I go 180 degrees and I dive right in. But I understand not everybody can do that day one. But work on that. These are the things. This is how you make changes and you make your life worth living. Like I said, I'm not I'm not balling by any means, but I'm soaring to new heights that I never thought I'd get to, because I put myself in a box. And that's the other thing, guys. That's why you develop a relationship with a higher power. It's why you seek through prayer and meditation for intuitive nudges and ideas and ways to find what your soul's true path and what alignment looks like for you. And then you take action on those things, and you do it to the best of your ability. You do it as much as you can, safely, and without it putting you in danger. Don't do anything that's beyond your capabilities, but challenge yourself and research and rest and balance, right? And these are things like I work hard. I don't I could have stayed at work today and finished up a couple of things. And no, come 4 o'clock, I'm like, no, that's it, man. Unless it's in a water pouring out or an emergency where somebody doesn't have the utilities that they need. But work can always be put off, and I was never like that. I'd stay till at the behest of everything else in my life, and I don't do that today. I have many things going on, and I go and I make the gym. And I come back and I make my dinner and I stay up on my grocery shopping and laundry and I make my phone calls and I write out my bills and I go to the bank and deposit money in the bank, whatever checks or whatever if I can't do my phone. And then I come back and I do my research, my videos, and I upload my videos and I call all the customers back and coordinate work. And I help out anybody I can, and I see what the things I have to do, and that's beauty. That's the balance, and these are the things that I've come to understand. That all these things came to me in meditation and prayer. They were all made. All my past failings were made brought into my awareness when I got quiet, when I got introspective, and through prayer and meditation. And the other things, now I'm taking it to another step. I'm looking at things that I want to call into my life, and I start listening to subliminal messages at night while I sleep, and they're just basically affirmations to your subconscious, and then it activates the reticular activating system, which is a part of your brain that looks for the things that you think about. It looks for them in your day-to-day life, opportunities that you might otherwise miss. And for me, it's working amazingly well, and this is all part of my self-development program. Again, find your path, but try new things. These are all things I would have scoffed at prior to this this recovery program that I'm putting together now, and I'm still adding and changing things constantly. But I'm sticking with the things that work. I'm seeing, and I'm taking leaps and steps on the things that I'm learning, and I'm expanding upon the ones that make sense to me and that work. And again, if it's out of my previous comfort zone, I dive right in because I understand that everything I did prior, like I would have swore up and down I was a great person, I was the hardest working guy you know, yet I couldn't get anywhere. And it was because of a lot of my own actions, and I would have told you otherwise previously, but now I see that. And I'm not doing that much differently, but I'm doing everything differently at the same time, and it's working incredibly well because I've changed my inner dialogue, I've changed the way I look at things, I changed the way I go about things. I no longer, like literally, I'm a different person. I used to be the most high risk, oh, that doesn't matter, that doesn't matter, like what, the law, driving safely, being courteous, being honest, like these things matter immensely, guys. It's called being in alignment, right? And that's the thing, guys. That's the difference today. Today, I take all those things that I used to disregard so openly, and I make those things my rules. And because of that, things are going incredibly well, and I encourage all of you to do so. Guys, we're getting up there in time. I was trying to keep this in, again, a short message. I'm trying to keep it, keep it to the lessons and less about my personal bullshit during the day. I will add in lessons anytime, and you guys can always ask me anything you want to know. But, yeah, I'm going to leave it at that, guys. What a fantastic day. Absolutely beautiful weather. I got a bunch done. Picked up a couple new happy customers, expanded on some other work with other people. Helped a couple of people out along the way, fixed a broken down truck on the side of the road on my way to the gym this afternoon. Like, these are the things that I do that bring me in alignment and make me come home and I feel good. And I'm like, wow, I just got so much more done than I used to. And I used to come home and turn on the TV and just veg and, I don't want, like, and the thing, I'm not trying to say it doesn't make me any different. I don't understand why. TV was my favorite thing in the world. I haven't watched TV since November, other than the Super Bowl back in February. And I'm not, I just don't have the time for it now. I'm finding other ways to fill my time. And if anything, I'm expanding into ways that I'm running out of time during the day. So I'm, having to let some things go and prioritize what is more important. But being of service and being sober are my two number ones. That's my number one, number two, and my relationship with my higher power is right tied along with it, and then that incorporates prayer and meditation as well. These are positive things that I've learned to do, and again, they didn't come easy to me in the beginning, but they're getting better and better because I'm changing my brain and I'm becoming more adept, and I'm seeing the value in it because I'm seeing the changes that are making that are happening in my life. Early on in sobriety, I would have told you I just learned the keys to manifesting, and now I understand, no, I've been manifesting all along. I was just manifesting negativity into my life because that's what I was doing. Every one of us are incredibly powerful, guys. It's about learning to be in control of what's going on in your brain and therefore in your outside environment, as opposed to to suffering the consequences of not being in control. And so it's much better on the side of things, guys. Guys, God loves you. I love you. Thank you so much for being here. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment, share the video, and we will see you in the next one. Thank you.